Okay, I start to record that. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any comments about the situations?
Oh, really, I think you said it all.
Okay. Right. According to the case, we have to continue with the following questions, right? What are the root problems Barbara Norris is facing? Can you tell us what are the root of problems?
Uh, Number one, I'd say is the economy is bad, so that's putting a bind on them financially. Number two, I'd say the university isn't funding the GSU properly. Number three is they probably got some staffing issues that need to be addressed. They got too many nurses maybe and not enough admin. Um, those would be and then the culture within the unit's bad too.
There's no team.
Okay. Okay. The next question. How well has Barbara Norris done in his first month as a news manager of GSU? Was she a good choice for the position? What do you think, Churiel?
I think she's a good choice for the position because she's worked in a trauma unit before, and she has experience with being part of a team, and she knows that environment. About how a team works, how to develop friendships in that trauma unit. But then, as a nurse manager, she did lose some of the employees. They left, but then she did an offsite training with the rest of the employees to try to understand why there's so much frustration and why there's unhappiness within the team, what's going on. And she had each of them write out a list of the frustrations that was really a problem for her or for them. And she started seeing things like there was a lack of team collaboration, there was a lack of teamwork, I guess, and there was just so much that was starting to unfold as she was doing this offsite, and so she kind of has to step back and look at it all. I think that's a good sign of a manager where she's putting forth the effort to try to understand her employees and try to see what she can do to help them to work together better.
Okay. Matthew, what do you think about the issue? It will be a good choice to be hired for this position in her first month as nurse manager.
Oh, she's definitely a good choice for it, in my opinion, because she has demonstrated that ability to collectively work with people and to figure out any issues that there might be, so that way everybody can work together to learn how to work together. With that offsite that she did, she was also kind of asking for their opinions and trying to figure out what they were feeling, gauging how they were working with each other and how they felt about each other. And there was a lot of negativity. And then she took that negativity information and proceeded to create a plan on how she can perfect that environment and make it better for everyone.
Okay, next questions. What change is she trying to make and why? Well, I think she is so worried about the situation of her staff because she knows there is a lot of flow and she feels very bad because she's working since 6 a.m. into the more than 8 in the night, right? She's
At night, yeah.
it's a long time, and she is so worried because she is doing a lot of work because she have enough support for this job, right? and I think they are caring people. They are handling the life of people. This is a very okay. This is very important activity because it's any mistake could make the die of persons, right? I think it's very important. For that reason, she is so worried, but she needs to work with people, and I think she's in the right direction when she organized a meeting, set up in order to know the opinion of their staffs. But how can develop this change is our assumed, right? What do you think, Kent, about that questions? What change is she trying to make and why?
You're still muted, Kent. There you go. Sorry.
One question I'd go back to is whether she was qualified or not. She was a product of EMU. She studied there, and she hasn't worked anywhere else that I could tell. So I don't think she was really a good fit for that. But regardless, you know, your question on what steps to take now, she's done a good job already doing the offsite. She's got some input from her staff, and from that input she got, I think she's got a good list that she could start working with. She needs, I think she could save some money using floaters. Is generally what I've seen in businesses, floaters are pretty expensive. You know, they're going to cost you as much as an overtime employee. Then they're just a temporary solution generally. So if she could get rid of the floaters and bring on another full-time or a part-time people and then fill in the admin positions that they were talking about that the nurses are spending time on, then the nurses could start doing more of the hands-on with the patients. I think that stuff by itself, the getting rid of the floaters, hiring a part-time or a full-time, I think that'd be a good start for her.
Yes.
She started the culture change just by having the meeting.
Yes, I study the following answers to their staffs. Yes, and I think are very important, no, to work with. I say the first is our culture does not value collaboration and teamwork. Indeed, is why you cannot count on others to help you. Our work is acknowledged and our contribution often does not feel value. Our job is becoming more administration-centered than a patient-centered. We don't have an opportunity to learn and grow our performance view system in the mystery, and then it seems to actually reward good performance. Many assignments are given based on the relationship and favoritisms. We have a little important matter that affect us really. We don't feel unduly defense or interest or advocate on our behalf. Okay, I think the people, the staff are telling that change problems. And I think the plan of action is in order to solution that, right? Okay, let's see the next. What are the three obstacles to affecting change Norris should anticipate, and how should she address them? Matthew, what do you think? Three obstacles.
Well, the obstacle number one that I found was kind of playing off of what Ken was talking about, you know, the senior staff attitudes and trying to help them to become more proactive and assisting the newer and younger staff to motivate them, help them to become better. And then the second obstacle I found was to be like increase the value of their clinic, and the value both financially as well as like attitude wise, and also more and like psychologically wise, meaning that helping the staff to work together well, to be kind to each other, to be supportive, and then that will spill over to the patients. You know, that kindness that they're going to show to each other will then be spread, will kind of rub off onto the patients, and they'll feel valued, and then they'll put a greater emphasis and importance on their clinic versus other clinics. That was that kind of obstacle 2. And then obstacle 3 that I found was the grading system that they use. I know some of the staff complained about it. Like, one of them was talking about how our pay raises increase no matter what we do, even if we're like crappy. And to her, that wasn't fair because she works her butt off. And so she understands that she needs, Barbara needs to fix that, knows to evaluate how to better improve that grading system. Everybody is based upon great attitude, performance, all time, and going beyond, you know?
Okay. Cheryl, what are the 3 obstacles to affecting change Norris should anticipate, and how should she address them?
It is, you know, how she was talking about the reviews, like format about how, you know, I guess the person that was in charge of the I don't know if it was he or she, but anyway, they didn't complete and keep after, you know, their performance reviews, and so, you know, she the person try to talk with them and see how to be able to assist them. And, you know, one of the things, another one is that they have a lack of goals, or, you know, be able to work something like lack of motivation, I guess. And she kind of in that department. And, you know, Matt was saying, you know, it's nice to have people really well together. They're kinder with each other, and just, you know, and the patients do feel that they truly are genuinely are interested in their care. And then, I don't know, just, you know, they kind of are fighting each other things, and they work together. That wouldn't be evident in their department.
Okay. Okay.
We're getting into the meeting.
Excuse me.
Stephanie is having problems getting into the meeting. Thank you, sent.
I don't know.
She was emailing me back and forth a little bit. I forwarded my email, so it worked.
I think it's the same for everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to.
Oh,
What was I with you right now? Okay, let's be in the case, and we have a reading about how human natural shapes our shift, right? I think it's to have the frame to solve the situation of right? First, right? The human has value in the general scarcity desire of experience. Right? The question here is, how well does to achieve and acquire? What do you think about it?
I don't understand the question. Where is the question?
Okay, we are here. We are here. This is the question, right? How well does reward system fulfill the drive to achieve, have, and acquire? We are talking about hospital health, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of the causes of these crises in this case, right?
I see many problems when I read it, but one of the problems for me was for me was the symptom of security.
Okay, but right now the question is how does the reward system between the analysis this options, right? And every one topic of this theory has influence in the organizational environment of the unit of the hospital, right? Especially in the unit of the Norris, the Barbara Norris, right? And I think we are talking about the reward system. How are they payments? The salaries, I guess.
I am. Well, I don't find an answer for this question, but when I read the document, I feel that was a difficult position that this kind of administration have. I don't know. Maybe she can bring them and talk with them, um, with the boss and they have in the job. I don't know. Mhm. For me, it's that.
Okay, Sherry, what do you think about the
I'm sorry.
yes, Sherry?
Okay. I think that if they work hard enough, I don't know, they want opportunities to have challenges with their work environment, you know, that maybe will challenge them so that they can have, you know, greater knowledge and things, and then they're able to help others that are around them, the other nurses that they're working with. They can see that, you know, well, I taught them that, and so that fulfills that need of, you know, they don't have the money to be able to compensate, you know, money, I mean, financially, you know, having a reward system where they are able to help each other, and then also that carries over to, you know, how the whole atmosphere will feel. It'll feel better instead of it's within that unit.
What do you think, Matthew, about a reward system?
On the reward system, because I don't really quite understand it. It doesn't seem to be very.
You know, I do. You know, sometimes when you go a simple, hey, I noticed that you did this, and I really appreciate it, goes a long way. It doesn't always have to be compensation, but just somebody saying, hey, thank you, because I acknowledged or I noticed what you did.
That makes sense.
Okay, Stephanie, I can see you.
I'm sorry, I have my video taking it up on time and.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, Matthew, about the reward system, what do you think about?
Kind of what Stephanie was talking about. If you
Yeah.
guys positive verbal reinforcement, then things should develop better.
Okay, with another the drive to bond. Mutual social commitments. This drive drives human into collaboration with others. The question is, how is the drive to bond? I think people that works in health have a social goal, right? This is to support, to have a lot of service, right? Take care with special feelings, right? It is not for everybody, right? I think the people there, the staff, if they are workers, they have this feeling to serve others. I think Barbara needs to use the kind of feeling, of character, or virtue of the staff in order to build a vision to the organizations, right? So it's more than the reward system, right? Visions, accountability to something in this moment. I think this is important culture, organizations that they can work together. Okay, this what do you think about Stephanie about this?
I agree. I think it's important to control this team. Right now, they have a horrible culture, and they're not working well with each other, and they're all self. I think anyone is really going out of their way to help anyone. And you know, a lot of times, a simple act of service goes a long way. So you do something kind for somebody. Just a simple note, thank you for helping me this afternoon or whatever. If you go out of your way and you do something for somebody else, they're more willing to come back and help you when you need that help. And so I think if she started that, or just talk to a couple of people and say, hey, can you go out of your way and do something nice for this person today, and see if that chain reaction helps.
Okay. Okay, the next is the drive to comprehend. Comprehend. Say, humans have a fundamental emotional need to develop understanding of their environments and themselves. This drive draws humans into collecting information, building new knowledge, and finding meaning in their duties and life. How well does this different?
They had the possibilities that it said. The show, working with other people in the units very well, apparently, and so it's needed all that drive to comprehend.
And there we about something to be back or doing something, and so folks are trying for something, trying to help others, and it's really a culture problem.
Okay, what do you think about Cheryl?
I guess, you know, there is, just like Stephanie's saying, that there's really a lot of work to be done within the culture of the team. And, you know, there's just, in order for them to comprehend, you know, what's going on within the work environment, they need to work together in a more effective way to be able to accomplish, you know, I guess not accomplish, but to better the work environment, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, to be able to do that, they need to work on, first of all, the environment of the team.
You know, I've had both of these situations. I've worked in a place where I had to watch my back constantly because I was being blamed for things I never did, and it was a really hard place to work. I went home crying almost every night. I hated it. And then I quit because of the atmosphere, and I went to a different job that had a total different atmosphere and wanted teamwork. And it was the best job I've ever owned in my life. And I would go back to work there in a heartbeat. The only reason why I quit, matter of fact, is because I moved to North Dakota. But it is a major difference, and I don't even know how to change that, because once you start watching your back because you're afraid what other people are going to do, it's a hard thing. I mean, it's embedded in your brain, and it's a hard thing to change.
Okay. Okay, Esteban, what do you think about?
Well, for me, the challenge here, when you understand the people, is develop the skill of the patience. Sometimes it's very difficult when you need to work with this kind of environments, because we have many stress. I can see in the document that this kind of people working 18 hours, and it's really hard. And when these people collecting information, I think that principle, the patient, is very important for me.
Okay, I guess it is important to share the information, to share the knowledge, because they are new nurses that don't know how the unit works, right? And there is a lot of nurses with a lot of experience, right? They can support new nurses. The new nurses can support the experienced nurses in order to have better development of this unit, right? But I think there is not time to share information. There is a lack of motivation to learn or to teach one another, right? I think it's very important worrying that, because if they are more people enabled to handle the equipment of this area, I think Barbara can have good options for have better shifts, right? I think a better organization, because more people understand how it works, because few people knows how are effectively and with the works with confidence for the hospital. I think it's very important challenge, right? To share information.
Mm.
Okay, the next one is to drive to defense. Humans have a fundamental emotional right to defend our accomplishments. In fulfilling our other three drives, when such accomplishments are threatened, human experience fears or anger and respond by flight
Mm.
or fight, right? Here the question is, how well does GSE's performance management system fulfill the drive to defend and defend, right? Okay, Matthew, what do you think about that?
Um, they do it okay. It's not a perfect system, as far as I understand it. And plus, to understand your question was a little hard because you're cutting in and out. But GSU defends that right for its employees by giving them the opportunity to express who they are, I guess. Oh, I know.
Wow, this is yeah.
You know, I think there's a lack of that because they're having high turnover. Um, Barbara's brought that into it since she's taken over. She's allowing them to speak up, and she's invited them to be involved with her actions that she's starting to take. So she's making the changes, but I don't think the unit had any. They didn't have much of a performance management system that talks about something that's all lacking. System management system. They're lacking a lot of stuff, and I think Barbara's on the right track for getting her.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense, Kent.
Yeah.
The performance management system.
Okay.
Stephanie?
Oh.
Sorry about that. I was muted.
Okay.
I agree that with Kent, that Barbara is on the right track. It's not going to be an overnight success. I think she's getting them to talk, which is huge. I think she's getting them to express their feelings, which needs to be done. And I love that she's motivating them. I loved this on the 4 drives of underlying motivation. And I think she needs to focus on the drive to bond to them as something to have on.
What do you think?
I'm thinking, well, I don't know. Sometimes when have a strong vision or reputation, we can implement this kind. No, I pass, man. I don't understand this question.
Okay. It's about
Hey, Lucy, do you have that sheet in front of you? Could you share that screen?
share the screen.
Yeah, the questions you're asking, do you have that sheet that you can share?
Here is the question.
It's not showing us anything.
Yeah, you're showing, it looks like your report, but it's not the questions you're asking.
Okay, but here, okay, I don't know.
Make sure you're sharing your desktop.
Okay, the screen is, okay, I want to share the question, right?
Yeah,
The question is here.
it wasn't moving.
Yes, it's right.
Uh,
Well, performance management system fulfill the
Hold
drive.
on, it's loading.
yeah.
There he goes. Yep.
This is the question is that how well does performance management system fulfill the drive to defend and defend? Yes, I think, and then I think in this aspect, there is people in the staff that have enough recognitions, and for that reason, they don't know share information about their knowledge to work with the unit, right? And they people they don't share information because they want to defend their knowledge because they have enough security in their or confidence in their laboral
Yeah.
right. I think that for that reason the 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 people there are so to defend, right? Their knowledge.
Hey, Louis, can I read something real quick?
The nurses don't want to share information with new nurses about the how the unit works.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Can I read something real quick, Louis?
Excuse
On
me?
this employee motivation, it says, we also found that a certain drive influences some motivational indicators more than others. Fulfilling the drive to bond has the greatest effect on employee commitment. For example, whereas meeting the drive to comprehend is most clearly linked with employee engagement. So I think that is a good thing that we need to learn how to comprehend each other and understand what's going on. And in the team, I think Barbara's doing an amazing thing by teaching them how to comprehend that everybody's got issues and problems and they're all trying to defend their backs.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. What do you think, Cheryl?
With this question,
Yes, with the performance management system.
develop trust within the staff in that unit. And as she develops this trust, it's going to take time for her to be able to develop trust because, you know, they have had, I guess, a manager before her that, you know, didn't quite help, I guess. But anyway, as she develops this trust within them, she's able to, you know, they will understand that she's being fair, you know, with each of the employees. She's not showing favoritism. She's not, you know, she's trying to develop a healthy culture within that team. And as they go, they'll understand and know that she's being fair. You know, she's not favoring any individual. She's being fair. She's being honest. And as she's going through this performance management system, she's able to, I guess they'll be able to, when they meet with her for their performance reviews, they'll know that, you know, she's being truthful and that everything that she's saying is, you know, they have the knowledge, everything that they're doing within their jobs, you know, that they're doing great, and they'll be able to trust her word. And then as they go on, you know, that's just, you know, I guess their drive to defend, you know, what they're doing within that department.
Okay, the last question is to formulate a plan, right? The action plans, I read about the 6 steps organizational change guide suggested by Cummings and Warney. And I think it's very, very appropriate, this selection, right? And I want to discuss because this I think is important, right? First, formulate a clear strategic vision, right? The vision gives the intention and the rate for future culture, right? Second, and I want to share these topics, right? Because I think it's a very, very sharply for this case, right? What do you think about this plan? I want to read out, right? First, formulate a clear strategic vision. Second, display top management commitment. Model culture change at the highest level. Modify the organization to support organizational change. Select and socialize newcomers and terminate deviants. And develop ethical and legal sensibility. I think with this suggestion for these 6 tips organizational change, it's a guide, a good guide to have a good solutions for Barbara Norris to the administrative issues, right? Okay, Kyle, what do you think about formulate a clear strategic vision?
You know, it takes information. It takes drive to develop something based upon the information that you have that's going to best articulate and modify what you need. An action plan is important. You have to have goals within the action plan for make sure you focus on what specific things need to be focused on in that action plan. So creating specific goals, not just broad, elongated goals that kind of try to cover multiple things, but very specific to the point kind of goals. So every action plan is different. They have to be different. They can't be the same. For this, it appears to be organized, but there's still a lot to improve, I guess. And for Barbara, she's still formulating her own action plan and figuring out what she needs to do for her company, for her ward, her clinical ward that she's working with, to improve and make it the best.
Okay. Ken, what do you think about the formulate a clear strategic vision?
One more time on that question.
Okay, about what do you think about the action plan? Formulate a clear strategic vision for the plan of Barbara.
Yeah, she needs to wrap her own head around it first, and then she needs to take it to her boss, and needs to get some buy-in from her boss, and then they could share it with the group. Once that's out there, then I think everybody should be on the same page at that point, and then they could start moving through these other action plans. So the vision's definitely, top priority there. So.
Okay, about the second is display top management commitment. This is the top of the organization must favor the culture change in order to actually implement the change in the rest of the organization. What do you see, Cheryl, for this topic to the plan?
I guess, with the goals that they set, I think that, with the input of each of the staff members, they're able to create those goals. And with the top management commitment, she can help to change that culture so that they can, do better.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think about Esteban?
Well, when you manage the culture change, we can develop, for example, in this case, we can develop transparent communication and and open and develop of skills of conflict management. I think that with this, we can connect the vision strategy and developing this kind of commitment I don't know.
Okay, about the three step of this action plan. Model culture change at the highest level. The behavior of the management needs to symbolize the kinds of values and behaviors that should be realized in the rest of the company. Change agents are keys to be successful for his cultural change process and impertinent communication of new values. I think it's important, but more than the staff, right? I think this culture is to the boss, right? To the manager of the general hospital, because they need to know the real jeopardize of possible dies in this unit because of the workers are so tired and without moral, right? I think it's important to have the highest level information and the compromise to have enough solutions to these issues of this unit and Barbara problems. What do you think about Stephanie, about the model culture change at the highest level?
I I think it is huge. If they don't change up high, if they don't change the culture up high and then bring that down, it's not going to work. The change will never work, the culture change. Um, they need to have a good reward system in play that rewards top performers more than it does moderate performers. And but that has to come from the highest levels.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, out of every business strategy, culture changing document that I've read, as well as talked with professionals in the field, including my dad, the environment is really dictated by the boss. Meaning that if you have someone that's in charge of of a group of people, and they're either negative and they like to backstab each other or backstab all the people around them, then they're going to start doing it to each other, and then it just goes into chaos. Though, when you have a leader that is going to be constructive, polite, supportive, and is capable of expressing sympathy towards all people, then they're going to start doing that to each other, and that's going to perfect that environment. So I agree with Stephanie on that one.
Okay, let's continue. About the plan, modify the organization to support organizational change. This includes identifying what current system, policies, procedures, and rules need to be changed so aligning with the new values and desired culture can be achieved. Cheryl, what do you think about?
Well, that's like consistency. Even like with anything that we do, we have rules that we need to abide by. Just like, I'm just going to use me as a parent, as a mom. When you set a rule for your children, it has to be the same. The consequences of, my children to break a rule or something, I can't favor, one individual child and treat them differently when yet the rule specifically says, this is what it is. And if you break it, then, you're going to have to face the consequences no matter who you are. And so if you keep with that, the policies, procedures, and rules and keep it the same for everybody, it'll resonate within the staff members that, we have to be consistent with this.
Okay. The number 5 step for the plan suggestion is select and socialize newcomers and terminate deviants. Encouraging employee motivation and loyalty to the company will create a healthy culture. Training should be provided to all employees to help them understand the new process, expectation, and system. I think it's very important with the new nurses, right? This part of the plan is very, very important because it could change, will the answer to the needs of this unit, right? What do you think, Stephanie, about this?
I think it's really important. If you don't train employees and they don't know what to, they don't know how to act, if you set a standard and you train them and you say, okay, this is what, and I expect you to abide by them. But as long as you, as a manager, abide by those expectations, they will follow right behind you. And those that don't, I think, should be terminated.
Okay.
Because they're like if you have a cherry pie, but you've got rocks in it, how good is your cherry pie? It's not. You got to take the rocks out.
Okay. Okay. About develop ethical and legal sensibility. This one. This step can identify obstacles of change and resistant employees and acknowledge and reward employee improvement, encouraging continued change and involvement. Kent, what do you think about that? This part of this plan, no?
Yeah, develop ethical and legal sensitivity. Yeah, that seems like that comes from a higher level. I mean, Barbara would be part of that, but it actually come from higher up, from her, the people that oversee her. So, yeah, I don't quite understand this paragraph.
Okay. I think it's important because the staff are person with own characteristics, feelings, expectations, desires, right? And I think it is ethical. It's important because they need to be have only one vision, right? To this unit and in general in the hospital, right? If I can identify these personal obstacles with the people, with the resistance of the employees, because everywhere there is persons who have not the positive attitude enough, right? And I think to have the intuition to know what are the obstacles, we can to try each person to person to solve the situation. I think these 6 steps are important because we have the solutions for every kind of problems that have Barbara Norris in this case. Okay, we are finished our meeting. I can ask the close prayer to Sherry, please.
Okay.
Sorry. Our dear, kind Heavenly Father, we are grateful to Thee for the opportunity to be able to meet today as a group. And we are so grateful for the opportunity to learn and grow from this experience of hearing from each other's input. And we ask Thee, Heavenly Father, as we go through the rest of this day and the rest of our week, that we may be able to remember the teachings that we have learned and implement it into our assignments. We are truly grateful for our families, and we ask Thee to please watch over them at this time, keep them safe and protected. And we are truly grateful for the gospel in our lives and for the many blessings that Thou hast poured out upon us. And continue to be with us and help us to be able to make it through another day. We love Thee with all our hearts, Heavenly Father, and we say and ask these things humbly in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Hey, Kent and Lewis, I needed to thank you so much for making those numbers work last week in our group project.
Hey, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. I was glad Lewis did that spreadsheet.
Yeah, it was so nice, and I want you guys to know how much I appreciate it. Last week was really crazy for me, and you guys stepped up for me, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next week.
See you next week. Who is the next? Who is the next leader?
Me.
Matthew.
All right, cool.
Okay, Matthew. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Okay,
Goodbye.
thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Esteban, were you trying to say something?
No, it's all okay.
Okay, sounds good. You have a great day, Esteban.
Okay, the same. Goodbye.
See you, Luis.
See you.